SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
Welcome back, Spartan Nation. We now head out to Jeff Michalowski from SMD Law, the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Remember, when your next decision matters, you call them first and then you act. smdalaw.com on the internet or 866-529-3537. And Jeff, before we go anywhere, I've got to ask, if I'd have told you it'd be 3 weeks into the NFL season and the Lions would still be undefeated, would you believe me?
No.
I had
they did their best.
Listen, I have to tell you.
They did their best to try and lose that one, though, last night. And the week before, it's like, holy cow, it comes down to the last play of the game. But everything is in the air, Hondo. Those are normally plays that don't go their way.
My son Duffy says to me, Dad, you have to ask Mr. Michalowski about the Lions because I want to hear him say no to the Lions.
Oh, man.
Hey.
It's a wild season so far. I mean, between the injuries, the plays, the Lions, all of a sudden Michigan State's showing flashes of offense again. I mean, heck, I don't know what to expect this season.
I know it. It's pretty amazing. Well, you better get ready for our questions because we got some doozies, brother.
All right.
Okay, the first one comes to us, and I thought this was fascinating, from Paul and Regina. I don't know, but Ray something. Dear Mr. Carpenter, we live in a beautiful subdivision. My husband and I built our home 4 years ago. We purposely did not want any trees and landscaping in our yard because we're older and don't want to do any landscaping. Our neighbors to one particular side, though, have several large mature trees. This year, we've already spent $600 paying people to come pick up leaves. We end up spending usually between $800 and $1,000 every single year of the 4 years we've lived there. It's getting ridiculous since we don't even own a tree. We've went over and asked the people, would you just simply come over and pick up your leaves? To which they refuse to do it. Do we have the option of A, having the leaves just dumped in their yard? They have a fenced-in backyard since they're their leaves. Can we send them the bill, which they've told us they won't pay? Or are we just simply stuck?
Well, Hondo, almost along the lines of no is another tangent. You're stuck. Unfortunately, the leaves as they fall, it's considered along the lines of an act of God. The leaves fall, you have to pick them up. If you were to dump the leaves onto their property, I think you would actually be causing what we call a tort, which is an action against another, causing damages, and it's almost the same as dumping yard waste or trash, which is essentially what it would be to their property. So don't engage self-help. The courts don't like that. I think you're just stuck with having the leaves removed as part of your normal landscaping.
Okay, the next one comes to us from Richard. Richard says, Hondo, I was recently out with my family eating dinner. While drinking a milkshake, part of the blender got stuck in my throat. There was no cuts, no damages, nothing. The man who was my waiter actually performed the Heimlich maneuver, and the piece came out onto the table. I wasn't upset about it. I understand that accidents happen. However, when they brought me my bill, they didn't even comp me my meal. In which case I said to them, you guys almost killed me. Can I at least get my meal paid for? I don't expect you to pay for my children or my wife, but I would like you to pay for mine. They said, no, the owner said that you're fine. Now I'm mad. Now the cost of a lawyer isn't effective to me. I want to make a point. Is this a suable and winnable offense? I know Jeff says you can sue for anything. I want to know if it's winnable. I'll donate the money that I win. I'm just pissed.
I hear you. It's one of those things. Somewhere along the way, we forgot how to be adults and people, Hondo, and something as simple as maybe paying for the guy's meal. It would have not only have made him feel better, but probably he would have gone out and say, those guys weren't all that bad. I wasn't even too upset. It happens. And guess what they did? They comped my meal. Can you believe that? You should go eat there every Friday. I mean, the spin on it and a little bit of kind of thinking down the line, and instead of this gratification of the me right now type, society that we've become, think before you act. I think that's probably the best thing that you could ever do as a person nowadays. Well, enough on my soapbox. Let's move on. At any rate, to recover, you have to have damages. You admitted that you weren't hurt. There wasn't any long-term harm to you, and therefore, what are your damages? There are some torts that say if you knowingly contaminate food, yep, you're liable. In this case, it wasn't something that happened knowingly or on purpose or gross negligence. It just kind of happened. Fortunately, you're okay. What are your damages? Don't really know. You could say that the milkshake was contaminated, and maybe it's something that would get resolved for what we call a nuisance value. Maybe the value of the meal, maybe $100, maybe $200. That's the best thing I can think of, Hondo. It really isn't much of a value, so to try to find an attorney that's going to invest his time into it, probably not really a good situation.
Oh, Jeff. Hondo, could you please ask Jeff about this? Because I know he does a lot with elder law. My grandmother is staying in a long-term, I guess you would call it a medical care facility, old folks home. Have no problem with that. They recently found a bruise on my grandmother, and some of the family members want to sue the medical care facility for the bruise. The problem that I have is we have no idea how she got it. She could have hit herself. It could have been anything else. It seems to me, if it's only a bruise, no damage, that my family's looking for money, and I don't want to be part of that. The nurses and everyone there does a great job. Could you please help us, Sarah and Jay?
Well, that's another one, Hondo. In lawsuits, yeah, you could sue anybody for anything, but the merits or success of the suit is going to depend on damages. Sure, grandmother had a bruise, but how did that occur? The suing party carries the burden of proof to show that it did happen. The moving party or plaintiff would also have to prove damages. In other words, what was the actual extent of those damages? And the third thing you always have to prove is the value of the damages. So to try and prove that in a case like this, they're really hard cases to show because you have to show how that bruise really affected the person's life for the worse. And she's in a care facility and she's very vulnerable. But unless it's ongoing abuse and ongoing negligence, there probably isn't much there other than filing a complaint with what we call the ombudsman for nursing homes. And all that information is public at the front desk when you walk in to any care facility under state law. So maybe filing a complaint is the better way to go, but if it starts to demonstrate a pattern of negligence or pattern of abuse, give us a call.
Okay, the next one I can't use names, and you're going to understand why. You're going to understand why in just a moment, Jeff, but I can't use names on this one. Says, Dear Mr. Carpenter, our family is a family of faith. We have 5 children. 3 of our children are in the full-time ministry. 1 of our children is in the military because they felt like God wanted them to go into the military. Our last wants to be a police officer and is considering, and they named the city here in Michigan. It's a city that has crime issues. Please do not use the city or our last name because we do not want to cause problems for our child. However, we have asked him to wear a full-time body cam because nowadays people can say and do anything that they want to police officers. Now police officers are automatically treated guilty until proven innocent. My husband and I have found a body cam system with full recording abilities that we can buy for $11,000, and all you simply do is pay to have the tapes renewed. Our question to Mr. Michalowski is this: since the department does not provide these because they don't want to spend the money on FOIA requests, because everything gets FOIA nowadays, is he allowed legally to wear it because we think it could protect him in a vulnerable situation?
Well, that's going to depend on the employee handbook or employment contract, or perhaps the police officers union. Something to check with his HR department or his union rep that I would kind of encourage you to talk to. Most police officers are part of the union. The union helps them with collective bargaining, and certainly body cameras would be part of that. So try and have him talk to his union steward and see what you can do.
How sad that our police officers feel they have to do it, and more importantly, how sad that police departments don't do it because they don't want to get FOIA'd. He's the great Jeff Mike. I'm sorry.
It's a weird time we live in, Hondo. That's all I can tell you.
He's the great Jeff Michalowski from SMD Law. Remember, when your next decision matters, you call them first and then you act. 866-529-3537. SMDAlaw.com on the internet. We'll be right back.